Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the men in black and back protect the world. Welcome to episode 12 we're now on. Thank you guys for stopping by. This episode is going to be a special one because we're going to be talking all about how to build an in-person community around startups, entrepreneurs, everything like that. I'm joined with some wonderful guests, Sam Hobbs and Grace. I have always not known how to pronounce your last name.
When you said Sam's surname, I thought, oh, he's going to say my surname.
I can give it a crack.
Go on, please. Go on.
Kuczynski.
Oh, you're close. You are close. It's Kuczynski.
Kuczynski. Got it. Well, you heard it from the source, everyone.
Now spell it.
Can I phone a friend?
How do you spell it a good way?
I break it down into three: Kuczynski.
If he's spelling it, it's Kuczynski.
Yeah, there we go. It's got to be songified for me to remember something like that. But these guys run the Southampton Eagle Labs down here, one of the best incubators for startups, basically, I think, on the South. And we are based here for a very good reason. So thank you guys for making the time. I really appreciate it. And essentially, we're going to be talking about basically how this place started, how you've built it, how you run it, and what the future plans are for it, for all intents and purposes. But with some actionable points along the way where people who want to build their own communities can actually do that, and those who want to join communities like this, and the massive benefits there are to it, and what they can get from it. So thank you for coming down. I suppose the first question is, how on earth did this magical place start? Because who would have thought above the Marlins, a massive incubator for startups all over, just exists now, right?
Just popped up out of nowhere.
Popped up out of nowhere in 2019 with amazing funding, equipment, and people that know what they're doing. So tell me about how that came to be.
Perfect. I'm happy to answer that one. So, we are a bit of a hidden secret up here because,
best kept secret.
We're not accessed through the Marlins shopping centre. So we do get people phone us saying, how can I go up another escalator? Well, there isn't one. You're not going to get there. We have our own external street entrance. But how it started. So first of all, Barclays Eagle Labs was founded 5 years ago. So that's point one. Mm-hmm. Point two is that then there was a really forward-thinking city council, which is Southampton City Council.
There was.
So hats off to an incredible partner that we have, who actually said we really want to do something for the startup community in Southampton. Then they saw what Barclays Eagle Labs were doing and were really interested, along with other parties that were in the incubator space. And they then got their hands on this premises, which was completely vacant, full of pigeons, and our greatest asset today, which are those our amazing windows that kind of wrap around the space.
Natural light saves lives, people.
it does, but we're all boarded up to protect the stock of the existing shop. So they said, actually, if we rip all this out, this could be a really cool space. Yeah. You mentioned it, invested a large amount of money, and we were gifted and we took it over on the 7th of May, 2019. So we're approaching our third year, which is really exciting. And, built now, I think we've got 35 businesses working here. We would like to run it for 12 months without any COVID restrictions. I mean, that is our wish.
We've had a full year, have we?
We haven't.
No, we haven't had
but we are going to.
Work
from home has ended yesterday.
Yes.
So, it's been a roller coaster journey, but one that we absolutely love. And we wouldn't be here without Southampton City Council as a fantastic partner.
Yeah, and I'm so glad they're actually really forward thinking with this, because they're really hot on economic development right now. They have many things in the pipeline we may not be helping with. But there's some really, really cool stuff coming, and they've already proven it with this place, right? And I want more people to know about this place because it's so different from a usual just office space you can get, especially when you're a startup. There's so many things you don't know, and so many startups suffer from, I don't know what I don't know. And then they've either hit something tax-wise, they've hit something business-wise, haven't been able to get over, and this is where a lot of the benefits come into play. How have you actually navigated a lot of the membership stuff with COVID? Because you guys have actually done a really good job of being able to work around restrictions and still let people come in a safe way. So how have you kind of worked around that, I guess?
I suppose there's, this is all new to everybody, and new to us. Right. We just had to make sure that, at the heart of everything is keeping both our clients, our members safe, and our Barclays colleagues and the local community. So that's been the priority. There's been, various ways in which we've operated, but it's always been safely. And, I'm very much like others, just looking forward to us being able to really get back to kind of full operating rhythm with our events program.
It's about time.
But there's been a lot of figuring out to do, which has been, if I reflect back, I imagine in 10 years' time I'm going to reflect back on my career and say that was really interesting to work through.
Yeah, I think we're all going to be like, what a wild time. And I think we'll be able to exaggerate how bad it was in the future. I can't wait for that.
To kids and grandkids who would be like, you won't believe what it was like back in 2020.
Pandemic of 2020, birds fell from the sky.
We couldn't even go on holiday.
But it's actually welcoming up a lot of change, I think. And I think people really appreciating the hybrid approach now that is now just a given. Remember, work from home used to be just, some impossible thing only coders and people that worked only on their computers could do. And then if you did do that, you'd have to be so good that it was worth you doing that and, not having that eye on you per se.
Really having to prove yourself. You really have to prove that I'm working from home and I am working really, really hard. Not that we don't work really hard when we are at home, just put that in there. But, so it's one of those things that you really had to, but yes, now I think times have definitely changed, and I think this is the way forward, especially with places that we have here, a space for businesses to come and work one day a week from here or every day of the month from here. So it really does give you that flexibility of hybrid working to work in your normal office or work from here or work from home. And I think that's going to be the way forward for a lot of businesses now.
Yeah, and I'm so glad it's built with that approach in mind, right? Like, if it's a startup or there's individual businesses that just need to put someone somewhere, because if I was still working for another business now, I would not be able to deal with work from home because I'd need to separate it. Otherwise, I used to get really mad at the work I took home. Like, how dare you make me do this in my bedroom? I used to take it really personally. And I don't know if it's just who I am as a person, I guess. But it's actually really nice that it's custom set up for everything from virtual memberships all the way up to actual proper physical ones, which is where all the benefits come from anyway. But how have you gone about gathering new members? I think that's another thing that, all the networking you guys have had to do, all the connections you've had, what's that process been like, and how it's been a fun journey, obviously, finding new members and just getting the word out. But what's been some of your favourite ways of doing that?
Yes, again, I think it's been a journey, hasn't it? Definitely. When we first opened, the beginning was people didn't know about us at all. People didn't know the concept of co-working or incubator spaces. So the beginning hurdle to get over was just, who are we? What do we do?
Not just that we're here. To be in as well. Because starting from the ground up like a startup, I think is actually have a lot of shared experiences there, which make it easier to relate to members.
Yes. And because we're Barclays as well, people just assumed it was just another part of the bank. But to get over that hurdle of, no, we're completely different. We are an incubator. We're here to help you build your business. So a lot of the ways that we would go out would be to a lot of networking events. Breakfast events, lunch events, evening events. We were here, there, and everywhere.
3 a day sometimes.
3 in a day. So we would be out. We would be talking to as many people as possible. Part of the fun of that as well was actually figuring out which events were good for us. Because to begin with, we said yes to everything, and then we kind of got a bit overwhelmed with saying yes to everything. And then you slowly figure out the best type of events for you and the best type of people that you because you want to reach the people that you're going to help the most and that would really benefit from coming here.
Far better for that than others.
Yes, and then we started doing our own events. And then obviously COVID hit, so we had to buzzword pivot our business.
Journey and pivot.
Yeah, journey and pivot. And then we made everything virtual, and all of our online events, all of our networking became virtual. So I'd say that's the biggest way we had and continued to get new members and get the word out there. But also I'd say over the 3 years, even having been shut for a while because of COVID, word of mouth now is one of our biggest assets. Having people here that can go out and really be talking about us and promoting us to other people. And it's a great feeling for us because there are people here that love working here so much they want to tell other people about it, and that's a success for us. And then to see them come here and grow, so that's a great success. So that's how things have changed over the last 3 years as well.
I speak to people in the same industry, providing office space, and they'll often say, "Where do you get and find most of your businesses?" And I think to kind of Grace's point, there's not an exact set route that's all we have to do. It is a balance of everything. It's spinning a lot of plates. But, you know, as Grace said, we've now got 35 businesses here using it, and they do a great job at spreading the word about how much they enjoy it. So it makes things easier for us.
Yeah, it's an essential part of a marketing set anyway. If you've got a good product, word of mouth marketing will come to you anyway. And I think there's a lot of businesses that see word of mouth marketing as like sometimes a bad point, because like you can't rely on word of mouth. Where actually, no, it actually depends on the type of business you are. And obviously, we have all the other channels going anyway, marketing-wise, but it's actually probably the strongest method, I think. A lot of people discount it. I've seen a lot of things that like word of mouth, you know, doesn't exist anymore. I'm like, you sure?
It definitely does here.
Yeah, it definitely does. It's just it's a business thing, and it's a diversity thing.
I think it exists. I think you just can't rely on it.
Yeah.
So, you know, we need to continue, you know, everything else that we do, from events and social media and marketing campaigns, but it helps, you know. But you can never sit back and go, right, we're just gonna wait for word of mouth people to walk through the door, because when you do that, it won't happen.
No, word of mouth is created, and it's created through hard work and everything else. And I think it's just props to one. If anyone hasn't, check out the Eagle Labs YouTube channel, because there's so much that you guys put on there in terms of the live events. All live events actually go on there. The value in the business owners that you would never normally be connected to, especially if you started your business like during COVID, which I did. Your worst problem is you have no one in your connection book. It's just absolutely zero. And you don't have any mentors either, nor do you have any, like, because I didn't meet my first business owner until I was like 23. So it was like, I had no exposure to the world at all. Mm-hmm. So you need channels like the Eagle Labs YouTube channel to actually get exposure to people that have gone there, been there, done that, you know, all that stuff. And finally, there's a podcast series that they're about to do anyway. So, you know, it is extremely valuable, but being here in person is where you get to see more of it. Because this is a mindset thing for me. Like, being surrounded by other entrepreneurs, as much as you're supposed to, you know, focus on yourself and all that, you get slightly competitive. You know, I want to do, you know, the best, but you also help everyone else around, because that's what we all do, because we want to see each other succeed. And there's all very different businesses in here. But I just find it fascinating how I'm motivated by the fact that everyone else is doing something. So I best be doing something as well. So it depends on what kind of business he's trying to set up, I guess. But I really love that. And everyone's really supportive as well. I spent hours talking to everyone else.
That is, when you say everyone's really supportive, that's one of the things that we really champion here, is that everybody collaborates. Everybody works together. Everybody helps each other out. If someone was to come to you and say, I really need help with my social media, but you needed help with another part of your business that they are in, let's work together. Yeah. Let's, you know, help each other out here. And that's why we, going back to events, we do offer quite a lot of networking events within for members. So often we'll have our pizza, lab lunches that everybody loves. We always ask, and any other type of food? No, pizza. Stick with pizza. Everybody loves pizza. It's
By the way, on pizza, we did do a poll. We sent out to all members.
We did vote on it.
Which other options would you like other than pizza? Pizza won, by the way. Pizza won.
Pizza.
So
I've been to other meetups like that when they brought chai bowls and all this stuff, and I was like, I'm not here for this.
No, someone once asked for a salad, so we brought salads, didn't we? We were like, how can you sit there and network whilst you're eating your salad?
I'm not crunching lettuce. So
I put sushi in the mix, but pizza still won.
It always will. It's a staple.
Yes, and it clearly gets people up out of their seats, gets people talking together.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What do you guys think about the variations of businesses in here, and like especially in Southampton's business scene? Are you seeing any different kind of sectors emerge more as we're growing, especially over the pandemic? Are you seeing an influx of different type of businesses, or at least a different type of challenges you're having to help them navigate through?
I would say in terms of members joining here, what we're seeing more in a post-COVID world is, you know, businesses that may be reconsidering their office, you know, and maybe presented with a 5-10 year lease and maybe questioning whether that's right for them. So actually they may be saying, okay, we're going to go to a much more flexible approach where we can go somewhere 2 or 3 days a week as a team, or 1 day a week as a team, or 1 day a month as a team. And they'll be joining more flexible places like this. So that gives us access to a different group of businesses that we may not have used to be able to access before. I would say in Southampton, you know, incredible, you know, 2 incredible universities. We've got a really fantastic data science faculty up at the University of Southampton. So I'd say a lot of the roles in this in the Eagle Lab, in terms of what people are doing, there's a lot of kind of data scientists. The thing I love most about the range of industries that we have working in here is that if I sit James and when we have a chat about what's going well, what's not going well, there's usually someone I can connect you with that can help with those challenges. And I think actually if everyone was in the same industry, it would be harder. They may not be in here, but usually I can say, go over to that desk, or, you know, it's just pretty much there's someone under the roof that can help. And that's beautiful.
And it is awesome as well, because knowing people is sometimes the hardest challenge when you start a business, because you would not believe how much it changes the way you do things. So when I first started Shogun, I started it in a very marketing focused way. It was very like, right, lead quality score, how much have we got in the pipeline, you know, and treating people like numbers. Whereas I went for a person like, I can't be bothered to carry on doing this spreadsheet, and two, it just doesn't seem to be getting me anywhere, because I get less human with people. It sounds really odd, but it's like when I do get a lead, I'm like, right, they're being put through this process. Whereas actually, as soon as I start switching to, I have 3 authentic conversations a week, sorted, done. Yeah. I think we doubled our business after that. So it was just really funny how someone knows someone, and you do need to invest time into doing that. I think it's another part about maintaining a community as well, because often to keep a community happy, keep an influx of those connections are what really helps businesses thrive. And the only other tips you guys have in terms of what you've seen that's helped maintain your community and actually keep everyone happy in-house? I
want to just touch on one last point that you just made there about, you know, the community. I think that's one thing that's really great about Equalabs. You know, what we celebrate is when a business comes in, grows, and we say, see you later, let's, you know, help you find somewhere else. That's what we're about. We're an incubator. Yeah. So actually our community is constantly changing, which is a real positive thing, I think, because otherwise, you know, after 2-3 years of the same people, you know, how much more is there to gain? So that's one thing I really like. I just wanted to touch on that.
And also, sorry, just to continue on that point as well about the building the community and people changing over. One thing that the pandemic has helped Equalabs as a whole is that before the pandemic, if you had an event, it would be very isolated to Southampton or very isolated to Cumbria or isolated to Edinburgh. But what the pandemic has done for us is it's opened up the whole country. So all of our events now are open to everybody from Southampton all the way up to Edinburgh and everywhere in between. Yes. And an example of that is we run female founder calls every week. And before it was just female founders in Southampton, very isolated to your area. But now our female founders are actually connecting with people all over the country. And that community has grown tenfold now from a very small to, the whole country now you can get they can get their hands on within all 25 of our Equalabs. I'd say for community in the whole of Equalabs has grown massively as well.
Yeah, so it's probably good to think about. There's silver linings out of this. Opening up the entire nation's world, I've just realised that for our business is actually really true. If we were isolated to Southampton and the pandemic never happened, it would be very, very different. Like we've just been invited to help out with some events like up in Edinburgh, and somehow they heard of me down here. I'm like, I couldn't have been more opposite sides. Go any further south for us, you'll fall off, and it's like, that's actually really incredible. But are there any other things that you find that be really helping startups? So just advice that you're giving them, and advice you've gathered over time as well, just from, because you guys would be great observers of individual problems within businesses that you've seen and been able to like kind of help with or direct to someone. What are some of the ones you've seen that you think would be useful for startups?
I think one of them you've kind of mentioned, which, you know, you said when you started your business, you didn't know any other founders. If you are even considering, you know, wanting to start your own business and you're in a similar situation to what you were, James, go and spend time with other entrepreneurs.
Surround yourself.
I'm going to call this gent out, and I call him a gent, a guy called Josh Mitchell, that we all know, runs the amazing Hampshire Business Show. He posted on LinkedIn this week about, you know, when he started his business, all the opinions that he got from various other people saying, you know, should you, shouldn't you know, it's really risky. And actually, you got to go for it. So I think surrounding yourself with the right people, thinking about who you need to connect with, and speaking to everyone. But actually, when speaking to people, and this kind of touched on kind of networking, how can they help you? But how can you help them? You know, reciprocal relationship.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, what can you do? But just authentic conversations, speak to people, and go from there. That would be my advice.
Yeah, definitely. And come to the table giving first. I think it's been easier for me. It depends on what business you're in, because obviously mine's a service-based business that relies on what's in my brain. So as soon as I talk to someone, I can then give them whatever advice has popped up in my brain or from any previous research, and I'll give that all up front. And that putting it all on the table like that, and then completely opens up the door for them helping you afterwards. And I think everyone just needs to kind of it's happening less so now, but less of that I have an industry secret, so I can't tell you. So I can use it.
Yeah.
I don't think so. So being upfront and nice and giving value first, because that's a really good piece of advice I got from another member, actually, Tom Phillips, who runs Printed Memories. He was saying that you need to make the most out of your mentors, because you need to actually action the things that you go through with your mentor. Otherwise, it's more of just a therapy session with another business person that you just kind of sit there and complain about your problems, and then you don't action anything of your problems, and then nothing changes. So I think that was a really good point that you made, actually. And you have to come to the table helping them with value, especially if it's someone who's out of your reach. So this is why Eagle Labs is crazy, because you can get connected with business people and coaches that are so experienced that you never would have had access to it before, which blew my mind. But if you have someone that you want to get in contact with, let's say it's some kind of celebrity, you need to bring them value. Hey, I've redesigned your YouTube thumbnails, or like, here, I recommend you do this, this, and this to do this. And it's obviously easier in my realm of work, so I can just observe and then give feedback. But the more you can do that, I think the more you'll be in touch with intelligent business people that want to help you, because you've already come to the table trying to help them.
Sure. Yeah. I think, we so lucky to meet such a range of people doing what I do. For me, I've always got to understand where they're at, but I can guarantee once I understand where they're at, there's something I can help with. Like you say, whether that's access to mentors, our funding programs, just actually connecting with another founder, working with our partner on something. There's, so if you are out there and you are listening, come and talk to me, because I'm sure there's something, if you're running your own business, that we can do to support. And Eagle Labs over the last 5 years has built an incredible proposition that our members can access.
Yeah. I think there's a lot said in anyone who started a business in the pandemic, the fact they would have started from an isolated point, that they don't have any outside opinions apart from themselves, especially you didn't start with a co-founder. That's something in my journey that I either wish I could go back and find someone to do this with me, or anything like that, just to have someone else to bounce your ideas off of. So otherwise you're standing there and going, is it right? Well, I don't know, mate.
Left shoulder, right shoulder.
Yeah, you just have a conversation with yourself, because especially if you don't have any access to anyone else to talk to about it, you can just go around in circles, or you can be doing the wrong thing for ages. So this is why you need to consume as much media as possible. And yeah, when you are isolated by yourself, starting a business there, you have to either digitally surround yourself with people, and you can either do it by a parasocial bond. So follow YouTubers, podcasters, and watch their content, and almost feel like you're in their presence. And as sad as that sounds, when you are, working by yourself, it's something you have to dabble in to make sure you feel like you're in that community. Because if you don't have anyone you're connected to that can put you in that mindset or talk about these kind of things, it can be really good to, be in that room digitally in your own head. Or there is this is the probably unhealthier way to do it, is find someone that you're just a little bit jealous of and track them and follow everything they do on social media and compare your activities to them. Because otherwise, everything you do will seem impressive to anyone else that you're surrounded by, and that will keep you moving slower than if you I'm not saying go after Bill Gates, but
why not? Why not?
Well, why not? I mean, you can pick stepping stones. I think there's always levels to the game. So I've identified 3 people that are low, middle, high, and I'm still below low, mind you. That I'm going right. Once I surpass this person, then here's the next person. Or maybe I watch too much anime. I don't know.
I think that's a good strategy.
Honestly, and it's something that I've just kind of pondered on, going,
How do you know when you've surpassed that person?
I don't know, to be honest with you.
What
does it look like to you that means you've surpassed that?
If you're that petty, you can go on Company's House and look at revenue. It depends on how good their accounting is, really. Or you can just kind of look at the kind of clients you're working with, at least in my space. And there's not many people in my space, which is why it's specifically organic social content, because a lot of the times it's ad content, everything else in the marketing world. So we are unique in that fact, but there's plenty of other people that make stuff very similar. And being in communities, so a really good community for anyone starting marketing agencies or creative studios, Agencynomics is amazing. So it's a free community, it's a non-for-profit run by 2 people, Spencer and Peter, or Pete, either one. Sorry.
Sorry, Pete.
Yeah, but they've written an amazing book called Agency Nomads, which is like the Bible of kind of growing an agency. Now, this is like to get into your first 1 million in revenue, right? I'm talking every single step, all the diversification you need to get different leads, stuff like that. It's probably a very good book for anyone doing any kind of service-based work. But they have an online community on the top of that you can then kind of do events for. We should be doing some TikTok training and collaboration with them in March.
Amazing.
Cool.
Wow.
I need to write the materials for that.
On the to-do list.
Yeah, it's all up here. It's fine. But yeah, that's really cool. So join online communities as well. There's a ton of them. Another good one around here is Only Network. So
Only, yeah.
Or ONLE. James and Kelly West. They do a really good job of it.
I've just seen are taking on New York.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they just started the New York one. London's another new addition, and Brighton as well. And that's I'm actually going to switch my home base to the London one, so I can make sure I talk to the right style of businesses. And this kind of hits back on the finding where you network best. Because initially I was in the Southampton group, but a lot of businesses in Southampton aren't quite where we need to be just now from where we focus on. So I needed to have a look elsewhere. And you just got to test everything, every little thing you can.
Yeah, you do, yeah.
I think not enough startups do that, even though startups are apparently the risk takers. It's like, still, there's a lot of things that hold people back from giving it a go, might fail, give it a go, might fail, because it depends on the person. And I think you guys
don't be afraid to fail.
Failure is how you learn.
Yes.
Yeah. There's all these motivational phrases, fail upward, it's called learning, not failure.
Yeah. You gotta test and learn.
Seen too many cheesy quotes with Photoshop lions with that on.
Well, it is National Cheese Day today, isn't it?
It's a National Cheese Day.
Is it actually?
You told me that the other day.
The Lord works through me at this point. I don't know what I say. I should have a charcuterie board in the middle. That would be awesome.
Next time.
Did I say that? Internet, you have to fact check me if my pronunciation was right on that one.
I'm sure you said the 20th was National Cheese Lovers Day or something, wasn't it?
One thing, I've noticed that a lot of these seem like very made-up days for social media managers. I'm convinced, right? But also, in the UK, it was Blue Monday, but in the States, it was Martin Luther King Day. So I'm like, that sounds suspicious. I feel like one's more important than the other here.
Yeah.
We definitely did at, I think, the beginning of last year, look at what all of the days were. Every single day there was something.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to tell if they're US or UK.
Yeah.
Are they national? Are they?
No one really knows where it started.
Yeah.
No, but there are some out there, like National Cheese Day. There are some out there days.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was not long ago. It was National Hug a Friend Day or something. And I'm like, I'm guessing that was some kind of charity. What
restrictions
thing.
were we in at that
exactly.
point?
Exactly, the wrong ones. So I didn't talk about it. So that's out of the way. I think National Friendship Day was close to that.
Okay, maybe we'll start putting them up on the TV. Which day it is today?
You're going to have to have a rolling cycle of those. You can't keep up. And a lot of them aren't really worth it. Businesses talking about it online either. It's just like, is that really going to add value to someone? Like, is someone going to want to see your one graphic about National Hug Day again? I don't think they will. It is a fact, and I'm loving how much marketing has changed as well. I think it's changed for the better over the pandemic. I think a lot of stuff is everyone's had to have this shift towards authenticity, and that's our whole shtick as well. And just seeing that, it makes content a lot easier. Like, there's so much easier ways to think about it. Like, for us, how we can just sit down and have a chat. Like, that's as complicated as this needs to get. And I think is how it should be, even for businesses, because businesses struggle with perfectionism too often. And that's obviously what stops them from testing a lot of stuff and being startups and everything like that. So it is fascinating. I'm glad it's happened. And we'll see if it continues, because once we get back to the quote-unquote real world, wherever it looks like, I wonder if people will gravitate back to their bad habits.
We will. I'm not
One to
sure.
ponder.
I think we've all learnt a lot.
Yeah.
I will. Yeah, be interested.
A lot of
to
things
see.
have changed for the better, and I think they will stay. That way.
Yeah. I think business types you think is going to trend in 2022, in terms of different businesses or gaps in the market that there could be, especially from the amount of businesses you guys see. What you tend to get, if anyone goes, can you put me in touch with this person? What they're asking for the most: web development, coding, Web3, crypto,
data scientists.
Yeah.
Data scientists. Most in demand for the kind of tech startups.
Yes. So I'm aiming to get a couple of data scientists we might know from across the way over there. I need to get them on this show because I need to demystify what data science is. Yeah. That's like marketing. That's everything.
Yeah.
What do data scientists do exactly?
You always see it out there, don't you? And you're like, but what actually is that?
Yeah. No one's actually said it plain English. What elements are broken down within that banner. Yeah. And I suppose if you're in that world, it's fine.
Yeah. So we have a lot of tech businesses here, don't we? So I'd say primarily they're probably in the tech
Yeah, and it's the struggle to recruit and find that talent.
Yeah,
that seems to be a real common theme. So I'd say that's probably the most people are looking to connect with.
Yeah.
And then of course, secondly, our partner Southampton City Council. You've mentioned the great work that the economic development team do.
Yes.
We're always really keen to chat to them and find out what's going on in the city.
Yeah, I think there's a ton of stuff coming out of Southampton soon. I think it's going to be, I'm convinced it's going to be the kind of the next hub of development here in terms of new businesses, especially with the amount of tech businesses I'm seeing here. There's the new Silicon Valley, and it's right here in sunny Southampton, baby. Let's
and also
go.
City of Culture.
Oh, yes.
Well, we are starting to see a shift from people thinking, I have to go to London to progress. I have to go to London to get a career. I have to go there because that's where the work is.
Yeah.
But there's a change in that now. It's shifting. It's not there. And have seen a bit of that here in Southampton, haven't we?
Yeah.
We've got 2 fantastic universities here, and we're finding that the graduates are staying more. They're thinking, I don't need to now leave and go to London. I can stay here, build on my career. I can build in the data science world. And we have a couple of businesses here that did have their offices in London, but actually now we've got them down here in Southampton. They've relocated because people are staying here, and this is now where talent is as well. So.
And whilst we're on the subject of London, I will quote my friend Liam Doe, the owner of Old Bond Store. You don't need to go to London to work. You can join your co-working spaces, business incubation spaces in Southampton. So, Liam, that's for you.
Love it. I worked in London for probably 3 months full time, and I'm not sure my lungs have been the same since. I'm not sure I've kept up with the smog that the underground brings.
The commuting, I couldn't do the commuting on the tube every day.
No shade to London or anything, but shade. I hate it. I'll go there if I absolutely have to. But
I'm the opposite. I really enjoy it. I really like it, but not every day. Not every day.
Exactly.
I like it for like a day trip or maybe a weekend away. I don't think I could commute every day.
No.
I'm not sure I could live there. I don't know how I'd feel about it. Although, bearing in mind, I've only experienced it for 3 months, so and that's just work-wise. So when you have work travel connotations to a city, it's probably more negative than it needs to be. Although it was a great company. I think that's pretty much everything I had on the list. But I think, is there anything you guys want to talk about? Because there's offerings that I think people need to know more about in terms of Equal Labs. There's the new virtual membership that's just opened up, which again, if you're isolated and you can't actually go anywhere, you've got a family member that's on the vulnerable list, stuff like that, but you still need to get yourself into a community to grow your business. Amazing, because it opens up mentoring. What else does it cover?
Yes, all of our propositions, so as you said, rightly say, mentoring, which we've recently taken on some new mentors as well, access to our programs. So we run a fantastic funding readiness program. So if you are thinking about getting into needing funding, then you can join the program, and it will help you with those steps to understand, are you ready for funding? What type of funding do you need?
Demystify.
That's the word I'm looking for. Demystifying. I knew there was a word.
Another buzzword.
Another buzzword. But I'd say you may have found this at a lot of startups, a lot of founders. You think you need funding, but are you in the right space? Is your business in the right space? What type of funding? There's so many different types of seeds out there, and different types of investors. So that's a fantastic program to help you with that. We also run another fantastic program, the Black Founder Accelerator, which you are
I'm blessed to be on, yes.
So well done.
350 businesses, 40 were selected. So
congratulations.
Very gracious. Thank you.
For getting on that. What else is the virtual?
We've got our Global Connect program that we run.
Which connects you to Silicon Valley.
Yes, big one, especially for those who are starting tech businesses. Yes, for sure.
So, and then we run kind of a variety of programs throughout the year, but also to our national events program where we kind of source our kind of best speakers from around the UK to kind of deliver content that you've mentioned through our Eagle Lab YouTube. So, there's so much. I think there is what I think is a hidden secret on our website, which is our support hub.
Yes.
And I always, when meeting with all the members here, if there's something that's on your mind or something that's working, not quite working, I'll always go to the support hub, because the support hub is built predominantly by founders. So we interview founders and ask for their support, guidance and advice, and then we pop it on our website. So if there's anything from writing business plans, how to pitch to investors, how to manage a remote team, there's so much stuff on there. So if you're either running a business or thinking of running a business, it's such a great tool. It's really great.
And there are some hidden gems in them. This whole series, like the cash flow series explained, for instance, on the site. We'll have videos with it, mind you, as well. So you don't even have to read. It's great. There's so much hidden in there. And one of the things I've actually taken from the program is I thought I had a decent-ish knowledge of how investment works and everything else like that. But the Black Founder Program, helped me know about the different types of it, because there was a couple that I didn't know about. But also what certain types of investors are looking for. So venture capitalists, or how would you say it? Venture capital funding. They're looking for a particular way of doing things. So I think it was the triple double. You have to show your business can triple over the next year and triple over the next one and then double over this one before they think about investing. That's kind of crazy. How high the standards are, and they're looking for this exponential growth spike that everyone tends to call the hockey stick if they're in investing. There's these little inside tips that you do not know unless you are a part of these programs or watching, and they are built for everyone, which is another thing where a lot of people don't apply for programs like that, no matter who's doing them, because they're they're never going to pick me because I'm not ready for it yet. Just apply. Just apply anyway. Because sometimes the way you write it can make someone reconsider. So funny enough, I just had a chat to someone who helped put the whole program together, and she said the reason that I was one of the ones selected was because of how I phrased my application. Because I said, how this is done and phrased seems like it's leaned towards tech businesses, so I don't know if I'm applicable, but I'll put my hat in there anyway because I think I could learn quite a bit. And she said that is going to change the way we write it next year. So you can have an impact no matter what.
Amazing.
And I find that really fascinating. And they immediately take that feedback on board, which is also crazy. There's not robots running this, they're people. That's
so huge. I know people won't agree, because we're Barclays, we've been here for 328 years, ultimately, that's our employer. But Eagle Labs is a startup, really.
So different.
It's not a startup, we're 5 years old now. But, so there's a lot of things we do that's different, changing. So we have to, listen to feedback and change things all the time. So we have to operate more like a startup. And the big bank of Barclays does too. But.
Being able to pivot quickly.
Pivots.
One last buzzword before the end. Nailed it. There should be a drinking game, I think.
There must be out there.
How many buzzwords?
We should line up shots before this, and if someone says pivot,
we'd never get to the end.
Awesome. I really appreciate you guys making the time. I think we covered a whole bunch of stuff.
Thanks for having us.
No problem at all. I think a lot of startups will benefit from this conversation and from the stuff you guys do. I just wanted to bring more attention to it because I guarantee you we wouldn't be here with all these fancy mics and equipment if it wasn't for you guys. So,
thank you very much. Pleasure to have you here.
Invisible hats off. But that's the end of the show. Appreciate anyone tuning in. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow our TikTok, Instagram, anything you can find. All the links will be in the description, and I'm sure you'll see many clips of this episode. It's plastered throughout everywhere, so make sure you go follow Sam and Grace as well on their personal channels and follow Eagle Labs because you will miss out on some incredible content if you don't. So that wraps it up. If you need anything from me, drop us a DM, email, wherever it happens to be, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you, James.